What's good, folks? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review Slim Dunkin's 2010 mixtape Menace to Society. Now, this came out the same month as Waka Flocka Flame's Flockaveli. Waka Flocka dropped in early October of that month, but Slim Dunkin dropped on Halloween of that month. So it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like a 1-2 package because both Slim Dunkin and Waka Flocka were pretty good friends, and they both did like that drill rap that was kind of prominent back in the early 2010s and that type of stuff. If you like songs like Hard in the Paint and records like that, Hard in the Paint by Waka Flocka Flame, and some of those type drill records that Waka was kind of doing around that time, the Lex Luger type beats and that type of stuff. There is mild senses of that on this project, and I really feel like this Slim Dunkin project right here is basically like Flockaveli light. I definitely would have to say it's got some truly good stuff on here. It's not as good as Flockaveli, but it's in the right direction for folks who go up that avenue of Waka Flocka Flame of what he was like back in 2009 and 2010 and say, hey, I want more of this. So that's what you get. Now, the unfortunate thing about it is Slim Dunkin is deceased. This was probably one of his final projects. He did have a pretty prolific 2011. That was the year he died, but this is the year before that, and this was kind of right around the time when Waka Flocka was one of the hottest rap figures on the planet. It was just the Flockaveli album made so much noise and that type of stuff, and basically all of like Gucci Mane's spawns like Kibo Gotti and Debo and all of those features that you saw off of Waka Flocka's Flockaveli album, all those different ones, Cartier Kitten, some of them, they all dropped mixtapes around this time, and I feel like Slim Dunkin was probably the one who was probably going to be the next to blow up after Waka Flocka. It just felt like, if I had to guess, I probably would have said Slim Dunkin would have had an album out probably late 2012, early 2013, something like that. It just seemed like it was on the verge of happening. But for what it is, this is the thing about this project is there is really not a ton of information. So I'm kind of just building this review from scratch just because there's no wiki page about Slim Dunkin, nor is there any official list of all the mixtapes that he's done. So I really don't know an overabundance. I downloaded this mixtape several years ago. I was going to review this back in 2021 and possibly 2020, but it just was kind of like I found like a handful of songs I liked from it years ago, but I just never quite listened to the whole project enough to want to review it. But today I have done it, and this is kind of the concept behind it. So I don't really know if there's any singles from this project, but there are some really excellent songs. Waka Flocka is on here a number of times, despite the fact that he's only on like one true original song. He's on some remixes and some skits, so there is like the Waka Flocka affiliation, which I do appreciate that they kind of had that couplement to be able to do that. But it just is kind of, I mean, for the most part, you are getting some original type stuff, basically in the same vein as Waka Flocka. If you like some of the kind of overcast and kind of off to the side songs from Flockaveli, this is right up your alley. So I just feel like that's kind of the thing. But since there's no singles, we'll go ahead and talk about some of the immediate highlights. I'll go ahead and list the 7 songs out of 15 I recommend, because there's 20 songs on here. 4 of them are skits, or 3 of them are skits, 3 Waka Flocka skits, and then there's the intro and the outro. So that minus 5 songs would mean there's 15. So the 7.5 songs out of 15 I recommend to you are as follows. That would be Swisher, On My Block, Break a Bottle, I'm a Bugatti, Same Shit Remix, Hood Bitch, and Go Ham. Those are the 7 songs, and then the almost song is Fuck the Club Up. And the reason why I didn't pick Fuck the Club Up as an additional song is because you can just get that song. That is an actual cut from Waka Flocka's Flockaveli album, so I feel like there's no difference from the mixtape version and the album version, so you might as well just get it on the album version. I mean, this is a more scrappier with DJs type version on this project, so it's just easier just to have the actual album quality version of that. So that's why I gave it a 7.5. It's not 7.5 out of 10, but 7.5 songs out of 15 that I enjoyed. So it's basically about middle of the road. But we're going to talk about some of these. I feel like the 2 best beats on this project would be Swisher with Roscoe Dash. If you don't know who Roscoe Dash is, if you know Waka Flocka Flame's No Hands song, which is one of his biggest songs with Wale and Roscoe Dash on there, Roscoe Dash did Slim Dunkin, Waka Flocka's Wingman, a favor, and it popped up on one of his songs and gave him a pretty terrific hook. I really like those Roscoe Dash hooks. They just remind me of like the early 2010s. It's a real sprawling kind of song, real sinister and kind of brooding, moody kind of feel towards it on the production. Perfect song about smoking swishers, that type of stuff. Just an overall great party song, an easy kind of party starter. Pretty much one of the best songs on this project, and it's free. Now, the version of this project I got is the version with the DJs, but I would definitely try to find yourself the version of this project that does not have the DJs, because it probably just would be that much better. But the other best beat on this project is I'm a Bugatti. This really has like a snaking kind of just instantly, well, not in, basically about as immediate as this project is going to get in terms of like a club hit. This is definitely something that I feel like you could be wasted to and have like a lot of good times listening to. Like Slim Dunkin picks a lot of sinister beats on here. He definitely has like some sinister ones that just kind of have like this snaking and kind of like intimidating kind of feel towards him. I just feel like I'm a Bugatti just feels like a real creeper of a song, and it's great. It just is a great song to kind of go. It does feel like a Bugatti car type song. It's an easy one, despite the fact that this is free. That's what you have to keep in mind is these beats. Him talking about a Bugatti, but he's dropping the music for free kind of indicates that, this cat probably had some money. That's pretty good to be able to do that. It's definitely a good hit. I feel like another one that has an outstanding club beat on here is the Same Shit remix. And Same Shit was a song from Waka Flocka's. If you don't know where the remix came from, Same Shit was off of Waka Flocka's Salute Me or Shoot Me 2, which he did a series of mixtapes called Salute Me or Shoot Me. But this particular song was a highlight. I mean, Waka Flocka got a number of hits like Love Them Gun Sounds and Oh Let's Do It and some of those. I mean, those were definitely a bunch of his mixtape hits. And Waka was like a mixtape prince. He labeled himself that at one point. But Same Shit is definitely like an outstanding club beat, and it just sounds like an easy bop that you would hear at an Atlanta strip club, a regular bar, and some type party setting. There's plenty of night shift type setting. It's a real lit song. It's a real lit song, I would definitely have to say. And then another kind of club hit. This beat is not nearly as good as those three songs I mentioned, but another real good club highlight is Go Ham. This actually has a brand new Waka Flocka verse on there, so this is a Slim Dunkin original song. It's not a remix, and it has Waka Flocka on there, and Waka actually steals the show. It's actually surprising how effortless he made it seem on there. And Waka's not really a lyricist, but it's crazy that Waka Flocka stole the show on this song. I mean, Slim Dunkin was pretty good, and I don't know that Debo did that well, but they all did great on the song. It's kind of a thumper. It's kind of a plodding beat. It's not quite as instantly recognizable, but I still like it, and I can still see it kind of being played at the club and kind of having like a night bass, kind of get a few drinks in your system kind of setting. I like that one. Another kind of club beat would be Break a Bottle. This one is kind of similar to Go Ham, just not quite as distinct, but I can still see it as just another kind of plodding, thumping kind of beat that just is not quite, doesn't have the synths or the swirls or anything like that in there. It just kind of has like some pounding, kind of thumperishness towards it, but they're decent. I mean, that's the thing. I like the song. It's definitely one I recommend, but it's just kind of the concept behind it. I feel like On My Block is a creeper of a song. This is kind of just one more in the neighborhood, just kind of cruising around and walking up the street, that type of stuff. I mean, a lot of these, it makes sense that this project dropped on Halloween because a lot of these are pretty creepy. Like there's some other ones that are like On My Block, like Twitter That and I Gotta Eat, but both Twitter That and I Gotta Eat had worse versions of On My Block. I mean, they tried to do the same creepy appeal of On My Block, but despite the fact that Twitter That has Gucci Mane on there, I really feel like Gucci Mane kind of dropped the ball on his verse. He has a really short verse, and then the rest of the song is just kind of hard to hear and just overall kind of clumsy in execution. I just was really expecting something better, and I felt like if the beat for Twitter That would have been the beat for I Gotta Eat, like if Gucci Mane would have been on the song I Gotta Eat instead, and they would have rapped together on that beat, it would have turned out a lot better. But I just really felt like both of those, like I Gotta Eat and Man Down, and like maybe one other song on here, maybe yeah, there's some drill songs on here. Like I feel like Man Down, I Gotta Eat, and I Gotta Eat, On My Block, and Twitter That all have kind of drill type beats on here. So if you like the stuff from Flockaveli, these are immediate ones to go for. Even though I don't really recommend I Gotta Eat and Twitter That, they just really had clumsy execution. And also, I Gotta Eat really takes a while to kind of start up. Like the DJ, the Bring It Back, and all the rips and like the DJ noises in the song kind of chop off like about a minute and 20 seconds of the song, and it's really only like a 4-minute song, so it just was too much. It was a little bit too mixtape for my taste on there, but it is a decent beat. It's definitely one of the better beats on the project, but it just had too much mixtape stuff. I really would prefer like the album quality version. If I could find that, I'd probably recommend it as like the 8th hit of this project, is just because I just only found like the DJ version. But if there was a different version, I'd say I Gotta Eat was another one. But another hit was Hood Bitch. This is the only real lady song on here. And it just kind of has like, I mean, I'm glad for this just because mixtape songs for the ladies are not always in abundance. But I did kind of like the concept of just plain saying like a chick. Like, I want to say that he talked about just going to like some hood mart with his hood bitch and that type stuff. So I just like the concept of Slim Dunkin has some pretty lackadaisical lyrics. I mean, I'm always looking forward to hearing what he has to say because he prides himself in getting fucked up. He's like a more thuggish version of Waka Flocka. He has less public relations factor about him, but he's the same type dude, likes to smoke, likes to drink, likes to cruise around in fancy cars and make it rain and that type of stuff. So he's a fun dude, but it's just kind of it's interesting just the way that him and Waka Flocka had similarities. So Hood Bitch was just an overall kind of groovy one as far as talking about like just what they think of like a chick who's really hood and reps for her side of things and that type of stuff. But that's most of the records on here that I recommend. Fuck the Club Up is a good hit, but it's just better to get it on the Waka Flocka project. Break a Bottle I already talked about. So yeah, those are basically all the hits on here. And just to talk about a few other of these, I mean, there's just some clumsy ones on here that didn't make sense. Like, I didn't really like the Fuck You song, and Them Guys was kind of another one. I mean, some of these just kind of had like, I really feel like the pace kind of gets riveted up a bit and it kind of has like this more manic type feel towards it, but I really think that he should have focused on like more performable. I mean, I know that Atlanta was definitely a lit place back in 2010 and that type of stuff, but I really like the kind of effortless oozing charisma of Swisher and I'm a Bugatti and even Same Shit Remix. Those are just some of the most, those have the most ramifications toward them in terms of quality. And the problem with this project is there's just no single. I mean, I definitely would have went with Swisher. I think that that would have been a great single. And I kind of feel like the emphasis behind it, it just kind of came out. There was no, it didn't really feel like there was much promotion, and there just wasn't like emphasis as far as trying to bag this up and get him to be like the next marketed kind of musician. For now, at least on this project, Menace to Society, he just felt like Waka Flocka's wingman, and there's just not much distinguish otherwise to really get that. I mean, it is a good project, and I do give it credit, but it's just kind of yeah. There's quality to this project, but it just doesn't have like the promotional aspect of it to really I mean, yeah, it just needed more stepping out moments. It definitely needed more stepping out moments, and I mean, it had the stepping out moments, but kind of more songwriting. Just because I feel like the thuggishness kind of holds this project back because there's just some moments on here that kind of make him look like more rowdy and kind of detrimental to society more so than what probably was needed. And it's not like detrimental is a bad thing, but just kind of in the concept of having some songs that could get some airplay and be presented in more settings than just strictly like a hood only sense. And that's kind of the thing. I mean, Waka Flocka at least had songs like No Hands and Grove Street Party. And even Oh Let's Do It was kind of like a hood song that was kind of had like a nice kind of hooky bop towards it. But minus like Swisher, On My Block, I'm a Bugatti, Same Shit, which is not even Slim Dunkin's song. I mean, it's just, I mean, it's pretty grimy. I mean, that's just what you have to understand. This is definitely, when you look for, when folks say they don't want any commercial, if you're someone who doesn't like when they sell out and go commercial, this is pretty damn grimy. This is like two, three times grimier version of Gucci Mane and Waka Flocka Flame. But he does have some gloss. It's just not often enough. And I think that's kind of the thing, because I think this guy does have the talent. Slim Dunkin did have the talent, but he just didn't have like quite enough moments, and there just was no single. That's just kind of the thing. Is just that there were good moments, but it needed some gloss to it, and it needed a single and some promotion, and just in music videos even. That's another thing I could have definitely used. But me liking 7.5 out of 15. I'm gonna give this record like a 6.25 out of 10. I definitely think that that's a pretty solitary score, just because there are some gems on here and there are some stepping out moments, but it just depends upon the degree as to how grimy you want to get and that type stuff. And I also feel like the social score I will give like a 6.5, just a hair larger of a score, because it does have some great moments, some club moments, considering that this music is free. That's definitely kind of the situation that, yeah, there's definitely some gems on here to scoop up for kind of like certain settings, some Atlanta nightclubs, some New York nightclubs in some cases, just some nightclubs in like certain senses, just depending. But it's just kind of the concept, because this guy had so minimal promotion. I just don't know how many people are really going to know about this. It's almost a guarantee that probably over 70% of people that you recommend this guy to are not going to know who this guy is, Slim Dunkin. So it's just kind of as the situation. So, but it is good. I mean, it's good. 6.5 out of 10. Songs like On My Block, Swisher, I'm a Bugatti, Same Shit Remix, Go Ham. I mean, these are some great moments. I Gotta Eat in some cases. So it's just some good stuff on there. This is kind of the concept. And yeah, can this record be top? This is definitely pretty good. I mean, it's decent, good, not outstanding, but good. And I just would have to say, in terms of the future, there are other Slim Dunkin projects, but I'll get to those as time goes along. But there can't really be much of more of a future, because Slim Dunkin is deceased. But I really wish this guy would have dropped an album, because I just would have really wanted to know what his singles would have been like, and what he could have gone on to do with Waka Flocka and even Gucci Mane. So that's kind of the thing. But yeah, there's some good stuff on here.